everybody and welcome to another video. Now anybody who's followed this channel for any length of time, or anybody that actually knows me personally, should pretty much know that this video was an inevitability. My Dying Bride just released a new track, and My Dying Bride being my favourite band, of course I'm going to have a look at it. Now they've been hinting at this for like a few weeks now, and I've been really looking forward to it, and it finally dropped. So naturally, you know, I've got to have a look at it, haven't I? Now the track is called Thornwyck Hymn, which comes off their upcoming album A Mortal Binding. I'm not sure when that's out. April 19th. There is a pre-order / pre-save link that I will put in the description below as well if you want to go and check that out. Now the song is about 6-7 minutes long, I think. There are lyrics here that come from directly underneath the video on YouTube, so in all theory they should be accurate. Now I'm curious to see where this track goes, because the last album, Ghosts of Orion, I made note of the fact that Aaron Stainthorpe was using a sort of almost like a chorus effect on his vocals throughout that album, which is something that he doesn't normally do. And I mean, I liked the album, I thought it was very good, but I wasn't a fan of the chorus effect on his voice, because I think that Aaron has a outstanding, haunting, beautiful, emotion-filled voice as it is, and I don't think he needed that sort of chorus effect he used on his voice throughout that album. So I'm curious to see whether he's carried on using that into this album, or whether that was just purely for that album, you know, to give that album a sort of maybe ethereal feel, with the album being called Ghosts of Orion. So I'm curious to see if they've done anything different from the previous album, like I say, with effects wise on his voice, or if he's gone back to just using his raw voice, which, as I say, you know, his voice portrays emotion, heartache and pain just so perfectly, and that's one of the reasons why I love this band so much, because you feel so much through the music. So anyway, I'm just waffling. I'm really looking forward to this track, so we'll just jump into it. And before we do that, if you could take a moment to like and subscribe if you're not already, you know, it really would help the channel out. You know, as it is, you know, not even 2% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed. So, you know, if you could like and subscribe, it really would help the channel out. It would make the biggest difference to me. Thank you. But yes, let's jump into this track and see what we've got. So, the Thornwyck Hymn by My Dying Bride. Let's have a look. Yes. As I'd hoped, it's a great piece of music. There's just something about My Dying Bride's music that always captures me. You know, the music that they put together is just beautiful. You know, I've heard on several occasions that they're not technically classed as doom metal, although that's the category that they're put in most frequently. And this is where they stand different from most doom bands. You know, most doom bands have the sort of slow, chugging sort of riffs and, you know, melodies like My Dying Bride does have. But there's something about the music that My Dying Bride produced. It's got a certain beauty to it as well, which I think stands differently from like normal doom bands. I mean, if you look at bands like Insomnium or Swallow the Sun doom? I don't know. But you know, bands like that, you know, a lot of theirs is sort of chugging, slow, and quite dark. Whereas My Dying Bride, there's a sort of edge of hopefulness in the sound, and that's normally brought through mostly by the violin, although that does bring a certain melancholy as well. There's just something very specific about My Dying Bride's music, and it's very recognisable, whether it's the tone or just the composition of the actual music itself that makes it stand out. And I absolutely love it. I think, you know, My Dying Bride are one of my favourite. Well, they are my favourite band. Aaron is an absolutely astounding lyricist and vocalist. You know, all of them are just amazing, amazing artists. You know, I've been lucky enough to see them live twice, I think. Yeah, twice. And, you know, both times have been, you know, like one of the best concert experiences I've ever had, because, you know, just the overall atmosphere that this music brings, it's just, it just really gets really deep within me. It really does. That sounded a bit weird, but you know what I mean, you know. It really gets like to the soul, gets to the core. You know, it's just beautiful. I love it. And I actually quite like the fact that the violin in this video, the violin that I actually have that exact same violin. Still can't play it, although I'm fixing that soon. I'm actually getting lessons to learn violin. But anyway, you know, I actually have the exact same violin that was used in this video. But anyway, that's beside the point. Now, I did read somewhere that whether it was the song or maybe it was the actual album itself, had maritime themes. And, you know, that was sort of shown within this video. I mean, I don't know whether this video would have been fun or not to record, because Aaron was standing there getting water just thrown at him at one point, which is quite funny. And through personal experience, I know that singing whilst having water thrown at you is quite difficult. But, you know, they showed that the women sort of swarming around that man, you know, at one point it sort of shows her with a mermaid's tail, and then she's like got normal legs, and they're talking about pearls and stuff like that. And, you know, there's boats and water. You know, there's a lot of maritime themes. Now, I can't remember if it's just this song or whether it's the whole album has overriding nautical or maritime themes. I read somewhere about that, but I can't remember whether it was just the song or the album. But anyway, excuse me. Now, this seems to be talking about like the siren, you know, sirens, mermaids luring people to their doom. You know, because it seemed throughout the video, you know, like he was being lured by this woman that was crawling around him, and like towards the end it looks like she pulled out his heart and put it in like a bowl and certain like that, you know, to sort of, as they do. And really there aren't actually that many lyrics, considering, like I said, it's about a 7-minute song. There aren't actually that many lyrics, although a lot of them are repeated. So it goes, I will be the weight of my sins. I will be the one who caves in. A choir of sorry girls, with their hearts full of pearls, a foul and torrid feast sinks men down to their knees. Now that immediately suggests, like, the sirens, the mermaids, luring sailors to their doom. You know, I will be the weight of my sins. You know, the mistakes I make are entirely on me. I cannot blame anyone else for them. You know, I will be the one who caves in, you know, the lure of these sirens, these mermaids, whoever it is, you know, luring him. You know, he will sort of give in to that. He will be lured by that. He knows that he's essentially the only one to blame. You know, he can't blame anybody else for the fact that he's giving in, that he's making these mistakes, so it seems. A choir of sorry girls with their hearts full of pearls. Now, whether or not it's the mermaid, he's suggesting, like, so it's a choir of sorry girls. I'm not sure what that means, because he used a phrase similar to that in the Ghosts of Orion album as well. Now, whether, like, sorry here means something else, I'm not sure. Or, you know, a choir of sorry girls. Now, it's whether, like, they're not doing what they're doing intentionally. I don't know. But with their hearts full of pearls, that sort of suggests maybe a heavy or cold heart, you know, an unfeeling heart, you know, suggesting like a heart of stone maybe, but using pearls instead because of the sort of nautical/maritime themes, possibly. A foul and torrid feast sinks men down on their knees. Again, you know, they lure in the sailors and they, well, lure them to their doom, whether they devour them. You know, it says a foul and torrid feast, so it suggests that maybe they're devouring them. You know, sinks men down on their knees. You know, they're feeding on their souls, they're preying on these men. You know, that could be just a sort of metaphorical feast, like preying on these men, preying on their helplessness, you know, that sort of thing. You know, sinks men down on their knees, you know. Men are unable to resist the lures of these beautiful women. The twisted waters are where I will be, the sisters calling from deep in the sea. The twisted waters, they call out my name. I will swim with them, but they're not to blame. So, the twisted waters are where I will be. So it's like, you know, if you're going to come and find me, you're going to find me in these waters, because I will have fallen victim to these sirens, these mermaids. You know, the sisters calling from deep in the sea. The sisters referring to the sirens, the mermaids, whoever. You know, they're calling deep within the sea, luring me. You know, the twisted waters, they call out my name. So, you know, again, it's that sort of, because when you're like out at sea for a very, very long time, you know, you might start to hallucinate, you might start to lose the plot, as it were. Because there was a thing a little while ago where it was suggested that mermaids, as they are, were actually manatees. You know, it's very hard pressed to see the similarity between a beautiful half fish, half woman and a manatee, or a sea hippo. Is it sea hippo that they're referred to, as they're otherwise known? I can't remember. But anyway, you know, so it's like what's the word I'm looking for? Hallucinations, you know, of, you know, being out on the ocean for days on end. You know, maybe land has been nowhere in sight for days, weeks, possibly even months, you know, so you start going mad, you know, and you start seeing things, and, you know, at that point your mental faculties might start to degrade, so you're easily susceptible to the lures of these beautiful women. You know, I will swim with them, but they're not to blame. So again, it could be the fact that, you know, he's suggesting maybe, you know, it's not entirely the sirens' faults. I mean, yes, they're luring people to their death, but it's his inability to resist it, which he's saying is the main fault, by the sounds of things. Possibly. The twisted waters are where I will be. The The sisters calling from deep in the sea, the twisted waters, they call out my name. I will swim with them, but they're not to blame. Now, in the final verse of this song, he put an effect on his voice very similar to the one that was used in Ghosts of Orion. But here, it sort of worked because it added emphasis to that part of the song. Whereas in the Ghosts of Orion, it was used like throughout a majority of songs, and throughout the entire length of songs. So here, where he's used that sort of chorus effect on his voice, it's added more sort of emphasis to the final part of the song, and that I don't mind. That I think works. I think it was really, really good. But like I said, in Ghosts of Orion, when you were looking at Your Broken Shore and things like that, when he wasn't doing his growled vocals, which I kind of missed in this track, to be honest, but he doesn't do them all the time, so it's understandable. But when he wasn't doing his growled vocals, all the clean vocals he was doing had that effect on it. And like I said, I didn't think it needed it, because as you could hear in this track, he can so easily portray agony, suffering and misery through his vocal performance. You can hear the anguish in his voice, and that's, like I said, that's one of the things that I really admire about Aaron and this band. They don't rely on fancy effects and stuff like that to bring across what they want. And it's just that raw emotion that really sort of penetrates deep into your soul and sort of makes you connect with the music on a completely different level. And I really like the fact that he didn't use the effects for the majority of the song. It was just Aaron's raw, unadulterated vocal performance until that very last verse, where they added the chorus effect, and like I said, it added a bit more sort of impact to that final verse. And it goes, a final kindness, a final kiss, as the golden arm of evening comes, a final kindness and all is bliss. I wither coldly and then I am gone. And then right at the end it repeats, I wither coldly and then I am gone. So, there's something about that final verse and having that chorus effect that really added a bit more sort of oomph to it. And that's fine. I like it when it's strategically used, let's say, rather than just using it throughout the entire song. But then, like I said, with Ghosts of Orion, it could possibly be they wanted to add, a sort of ethereal, otherworldly sound to the vocals because of, the ghosts of Orion. So there might have been that, but, I am glad that there hasn't been a return to that choir effect throughout the entirety of the song. But, yeah, as you can guess, I absolutely love this track. I'm really looking forward to the new album coming out. I have followed My Dying Bride for decades, since, I can't even remember what song it was, but it had like a really, really bad video from years back. I can't remember which one it was, but we're talking like back early, like when I was young. I've been following them for years, and I've loved everything they've done. 37.488% complete? Either way, there was that one weird album that I wasn't too fond of, but I've grown to love it eventually. My Dying Bride are just like possibly the perfect band, in my opinion. Everything they have produced has been amazing. And yeah, I could just gush for hours about how much I love this band and how great they are and how cool Aaron is, and all that. But yeah, absolutely outstanding band, absolutely outstanding piece of music. You can guarantee I will be listening to this track quite a lot until that album comes out, because, well, it's just amazing. But I'm going to stop with that. I'm going to leave that as it is before I end up making this video about 3.5 hours long talking about how great Aaron is. So we'll leave that as it is. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like or a subscribe, because it really would help the channel out. As it stands at the moment, only about not even 2% of people watching my videos are actually subscribed, and that's kind of disheartening, you know, because I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and I've put a lot of time and effort into recording, editing these videos. You know, I've gone through several hardships, you know, whilst doing these videos, and I've always come back to it because of my love of music, and I want to share it with people. You know, maybe introduce people to bands they've not heard before, or maybe help lesser known bands find a wider audience. You know, I do what I do because I love music and I want to share it with people. I want to talk to people about the themes and meanings and stories behind lyrics, which very few, if any, other music reactors actually do. And, you know, meanings of metal songs are often very much misunderstood, which leads to the misconception that heavy metal is evil and stuff like that. So, you know, I enjoy and I love what I do, but when people don't like and subscribe, my videos are just sort of getting lost and no one's getting a chance to see them, and it's making it very difficult for my channel to actually go anywhere. So, you know, if you could like and subscribe, it does make a big difference. It doesn't cost anything, it takes a fraction of a second, and it would make the biggest difference to my channel. But that's all I've got for you today. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.